In this Watch It video, we're going to be looking at how to draw an ellipse onto our screen. So this is different than a circle where you needed to know the radius of the circle to determine how large to make the circle. In this particular case, we need to know the X and Y axis, the width, and the height in order to create a circle. Our target is the name you give the window, same as before. We're going to use screen. Remember that you can use something like window. RGB is the color that you're going to code your ellipse in, or color the ellipse in. X and Y are the coordinates where the upper left corner of the ellipse should begin. So if you look right here, I have a rectangle, and within that rectangle, I have a ellipse. Now, the rectangle is being drawn at 50-50, and so is the ellipse. It's not being drawn down here. Okay, when you draw an ellipse, it actually will always fit into a rectangle box. So it is starting at 50-50, and then it goes out however wide you want it to go. So right now we're going 75, and however far down you want it to go, which is 75. So its width is 75 and height is 75. And on this ellipse, if I was to draw a rectangle around it, its starting point is going to be somewhere right about here at 150, 20, and then it has a width of 100 and a height of 200. So this width is 100 across, and the height is 200. Now, let's look at that in Python. We are going to open our Pygame window. I am going to File, Open. We're going to go to Pygame window. Remember that we use Pygame window so that we don't have to rewrite all the code. Now everything should be the same except for the window size. So I'm going to change my window size to 640, and this is going to change to 480. We have colors already defined in here. Now you can use any color you want to when you are creating your ellipses. I'll use specific colors, but like I said, you can change it to whatever you want to. Make sure that your screen is filled with white, and then we're going to draw our ellipses. So we know that we need X and Y axis and then the width and the height. You can define all of that within parentheses, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to create an E1 for ellipse 1 is equal to, my X is going to be at 50, my Y is at 50, and I'm saying 75 wide and 75 height. Then I'm going to create an ellipse number 2 is equal to 150 by 20 with a 100 width and a 200 height. Now I'm going to draw my ellipse onto the screen, so I'm going to put a comment in here that says draw ellipse. And so our first thing is putting in our Pygame .draw.ellipse, and now we put our parentheses. We are drawing to the screen. I'm going to use the color green, and then I'm using my E1. Next, I'm going to draw another ellipse. This time, I am putting it at, I'm sorry, I'm not drawing an ellipse, I'm drawing a rectangle. I'm going to draw my rectangle around the ellipse. So I'm going to do a Pygame.draw.rec, and I am putting it on the screen. I am going to use the color red this time so you can definitely see the outline of the box. You can use any color you want. I'm going to put E1 because I want it to use the exact same coordinates, and I'm going to put a 2 so that I know the thickness of that square is only going to be 2 pixels. Then I'm going to draw a third ellipse, and this one is going to, a second ellipse, and this one is going to be drawn on the screen. it is going to use the color blue. It's going to use the E2 points and width and height. And I'm going to put a 5 because I want it to be 5 pixels thick. And now I am going to do a File, Save As. You are going to save it as Pygame Ellipse. Do a save. You're going to run it. So File, Save As. And when we run it, now I'm going to move these over here so I can look at the code. I have a circle with a rectangle around it. Remember that every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square. And every circle is an ellipse, but all ellipses are not circles. Okay, so I have an ellipse inside my rectangle. This one is filled in, but they both start at the same exact point of 50-50. They both have a width of 75 and a height of 75. And our second ellipse drawn here has a starting point of 150, meaning 150 from the left, 20 down, and then it has width of 100 and height of 200. If you are good with that and you don't have any questions, go ahead and answer the check for understanding and then move on to our next section. If you do have questions, please email me.